Touch back for Arfield. 1-0 Burnley. Scott Arfield. He's been threatening that recently. And all the Burnley players run to the Darwin end. Oh, what a goal! What a goal from Robbie Blake! Burnley's first goal in the Premier League is something very, very special.
Wade Elliott has that change of pace and he's got away from Montgomery into the path of McCann and the follow-up finds the net. What a strike from Wade Elliott! A bolt from the claret and blue.
Oh goodness me! What a goal from Patterson! If that is to be the one that takes them to Wembley, you cannot argue with that. Pure quality.
Here goes Mike Conroy. Still time for a winner, maybe. John Francis! They came to York in their thousands. They're going home as champions.
I mean, if there's any justice in the world, Burnley would surely score from this corner. Swung right in there. Ball in there. Yeah! Michael Keane! Oh, that's justice! That is justice at the Amex Stadium. Burnley are level and deserve to be.
Hello everyone, here we are. Can you hear me? Can you see me? Happy days. We are Premier League. How are we doing? You alright? We've got, of course, full-time show after yesterday's fantastic win at the Riverside Stadium, which of course confirmed promotion. I'm sorry that I was a little late. The lads will vouch. I was having camera issues at the start. And then I went out the room, come back in, and as I'd gone live, it all just fucking went again. But it is what it is. We've got the majority of the squad here. We've got majority of the squad. We've got Neil. How are you doing, mate?
Good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, good to meet you last night, mate. How are you feeling?
Yeah, knackered. I feel like I'm probably as tired as you. It's probably the same for you. I couldn't get to sleep. I was just watching the celebrations over and over and over and over and over again. So, yeah, I feel like shit, to be honest with you, but it's right, isn't it?
Yeah, it's worth it. A lot of you won't know this, but I've never actually met Neil before, but I met him last night. So that was something else that was good. We've also got Sam from Claret's Roundup. He likes to chat. How are we doing, mate?
I'm not bad. How are you?
Yeah, really good, mate.
I feel
really
like
good.
a champion this morning.
Oh, mate. Well, not quite yet, but we'll get there soon with that. Definitely we're a fucking Premier League fucking podcast again, put it that way. And, of course, Nathan from the Burnley Monday Al page. How are we doing, mate?
Oh, mate, flying. Absolutely flying. Head's on its arse, but I'm absolutely flying. Buzzing.
Yeah, you're quite rough, aren't you, Nathan? You had a few beers to celebrate, I think.
Yeah, a few more houses some last night.
I couldn't have much, obviously, with me driving up and I drove back. So I had one when I got back at about 1:30 in the morning. Watched some stuff on Twitter because the highlights had just dropped. Watched all of my stuff. Put some of my content up there. If you do want to watch all that content, it's on the channel after this, of course. And then did the same as Neil. Went to bed and just watched videos for about an hour. I didn't fall asleep till about half 2.
No, God, I'm not good,
but
boy.
this is why we do it exactly. So this one's going to be a bit all over the gaff because none of us have got a clue what's going on. There's too many of us. I just wanted to get as many involved as I could. So I'll try and give it some sort of structure, but keep your questions coming in. We will use a lot of them, apart from the ones slagging me off, calling me Tim Pot because I was late on the show again. But Neil, obviously you were there. Thoughts on the game? Atmosphere were good, weren't it? Fair play to Borough. I thought they had a good atmosphere as well. But yeah, good atmosphere, good game. Your thoughts on the game, mate?
Yeah, they're sort of pop world 90s rave to start the match off. Got everyone going, didn't it? Atmosphere was great. Our fans were phenomenal. They only really chirped up when they scored. Genuinely, I know it's like a football cliche. They only sing when they're drawing.
Sing when you're drawing. That was the chant, weren't it?
We were phenomenal, our fans, and I don't know. I don't know whether it was the tension of the occasion or something, but I genuinely thought we'd played shit the first half, and then when I've watched it back, we actually did all right. There was a lot. I think I said to you on the way out, didn't I, that there was a lot of errors that I thought crept in. A lot of sloppy passes. There was a lot of mistakes being made. So whether it was nerves kicking in or what, I don't know. There was one I remember where a cross come in and it was going out and Robert still headed it and gave them a corner, and it's like, come on.
Yeah, I remember that. Right in front of us, weren't it?
Yeah, right in front. It's like, just get yourselves together, lads. Just get a grip of it. And but I genuinely thought we'd been shit. But then I've watched it back, like literally about 10 minutes before we come on, and we actually weren't as bad as I thought we were. They had a game plan which was clearly just to take Teller out.
It was a kick Teller show, weren't it?
They kicked him all over the pitch. Nearly snapped him in half at one point. But I didn't think they offered very much. I don't think they offered very much at all, really. It was our own doing, all their chances and all the sort of nervous moments we got. I got told off my mate, shout out to Greg, he asked for a shout out, that it weren't a penalty. And then I've seen it back and I don't think it was either. Other than that, I don't really think they're threatened that much other than mistakes that we made ourselves.
Yeah, exactly that, mate. I didn't think we played bad at the time, but I just thought we were just a little bit. We put pressure on ourselves in the first half too much. Like we weren't. Our big thing is passing it out from the back and creating chances like that. And we just weren't doing that very well in that game last night. I thought we were a bit shit in terms of passing it out from the back, but obviously, who gives a fuck in the end? In the second half, we were fantastic, and we went on to win. I thought Teller were fantastic. I thought Bay were fantastic. Sam, I'll start with you. Go to you next, should I say? Your thoughts on the match, mate?
Same as Neil, to be fair. I remember watching it straight away and in the moment, and I was thinking, like, lads, seriously, just like calm down. Like, you can't be giving these types of opportunities to a team as clinical as Middlesbrough. And then, in fairness, I don't think that they offered a lot. When I watched it back this morning, it was just us controlling the game. We controlled the game from defence. We controlled the game when we got into midfield. The only issue that we had in the first half was a lack of creativity going forward. But that's been a little thing that we've had since the international break. We haven't in the last two games that we've played. It seemed like we have struggled to get the ball forward. But then second half, other than their penalty, they had nothing. And we've ended up sealing promotion with a brilliant win after controlling everything. Connor Roberts has no right to be in centre of box to score a goal.
I know. I didn't even realise it was him that scored it until later on.
But it's like when he was there, it's like, why are you in the centre of the box? And then to celebrate by shushing Middlesbrough fans, I just think that's hilarious. But credit to what they're doing. They are a good team and they deserve to be where they are. But I just think it just showed that we outclassed them because we are so much better in this league.
Yeah, I agree. I do think it shows how much better we are than this league, the fact that they're third. And it was only 2 weeks ago that Don Goodman was saying they are the best team in the league. And at the time, I remember thinking, what shit are you chatting, mate? But it kind of took away from it because how much shit the Blackburn fan chat, who's actually a nice lad, to be fair. I had him on the pre-game show here and I can't wait to have him back on for the other one. I'm going to grill him so much. But he was saying some shit as well with Don Goodman. Nathan, your thoughts on the game as well, please, mate?
Yeah, I thought what Sam and Neil said just echoes what I was going to say. It's pretty controlled performance to go to the second, probably at this moment in time, the second best team in the league, and just brush them aside pretty comfortably. Shows where we're at, and I don't actually think we played our best either. That was the thing that I took away from it. We were quite. I think Sam said it. We were quite sloppy going forward. Sometimes we weren't as clinical as we normally are, but yet we still just got back to that resilient, pushing teams aside mentality. And I did not fear for the worst, because like I say, the game's lost. The game sort of had jeopardy, but it didn't. If we didn't win, didn't matter. We'd just go up on Monday. It don't matter. But when they went 1-1, it was a bit like, oh god, here we go. Like, is it going to be one of them ends to the season where we can't seem to just get over the line? But then we just turned it around straight away. And I just want to give a shout out to Muric, because the size of the gonads on that kid for mugging, just that one incident where Akpom sprinting down and just Cruyff turned to him with like a millisecond to go. Like,
oh mate, that was so funny.
Size of the knackers on that lad is unbelievable.
Mate, I was sat in the middle of the and you know me, I'm the president of the Muric fan club. I was sat in the middle of the anti-Muric brigade, and there was a lot of heart attacks happening at that point, I can tell you.
Brilliant.
Oh mate, the guy behind me hated Muric. It was so funny. He just slagged him off 24/7. Well, for the full 90 minutes. And when he did that thing where he sent Atpan for a hot dog, I remember him going, bloody hell, that could have gone so wrong. And some guy just turned up and went, well, it didn't, did it? Like, what are you fucking moaning for? It was so funny. It was class when he did that. Obviously, the other big news as well, Ashley Barnes announced last night. Well, he said, I didn't see the interview because I was told as well that he was leaving a few hours beforehand, and then obviously the news came out, so I just thought, he's obviously leaving. But he said it's up to the club, but I believe the club aren't going to renew, and that's obviously what Ashley was hinting at last night. Nathan, we'll start with you this time. We'll go opposite order. Your thoughts on Ashley leaving? I mean, he's a legend, innit? We all love him. We would love for him to stay forever and ever, but it's just one of them things you can understand why the club have decided against it.
Yeah, I wish he didn't start with me. I'm still hurting. It took me by surprise. I saw like the interview and I had to like go back and just go, well, hold on a minute, what's he just said? Yeah. And like he's just said, well, hold on a minute, he said he's leaving. What's going? Hold on a minute, like I was proper like taken aback by it, but. Yeah, it's a shame. Like he's an actual. I think he's a club legend. Like we're having this debate last night, but watching it, and some lads were saying no, he's like a bit of a cult hero. But I think no, he's a genuine club legend. He's been involved in some massive moments for us. Like you got the Wigan game, you've got that Chelsea game where he just shithoused his way through the game and just got everyone sent off. You've got that overhead kick. You've got the kissing on the nose at Leicester. You've got it's endless. You know, he's a legend, and yeah. I'm just glad for him that he's getting the time this season as well to be a part of this team. He's not sitting on the bench watching it happen. Yeah. He's actually having an impact on the game, and it was just fitting that he scored last night. And it obviously felt right for him to come out and say that, you know, because he's had such an impact on that game to get us up. So yeah, it's sad. It is sad. I think he's a legend, and I'm hoping it would have been around for another year, to be honest.
It's going to be interesting to see how we get on without him in terms of the shithousing stuff and the holding the ball up. But it's interesting. I'd have liked him to have stayed, not necessarily as a player, but you can't really be expecting him to go straight into coaching. He obviously might not want to do that. Yeah. It could follow Westy and go to the MLS. It could go somewhere else like the A-League or something, or even the J-League. You know, be interested to see where he goes. I hope he don't. I saw some Preston fans tweeting saying, "Oh, let's he'll do a job." Like, please don't go there, Ash. Please don't go there. Obviously, it's convenient. But Sam, your thoughts on Ash leaving?
Oh, it was like a Brendan Rodgers leaving Liverpool moment with me and my dad on the sofa. He said he was leaving. I was like, bloody hell, hang on. No, he's a fantastic, he's a fantastic guy, a good player, giving us some unbelievable moments. I remember, even from moments in the season where we got relegated from the Premier League, where he scored that blinder against Tottenham, and like, even from there, you could see there was a player that would love to have scored goals. And, there's our European season where, he scored against Stoke and Swansea and got us all these goals. Like, he's a club legend, 100%, and he deserves to be rightfully spoke about in that way. I was absolutely devastated when he said it, because I agree with you guys. I thought, give him one more bash at Premier League. Obviously not to start, because the team's going to change. But then obviously the logic in me then kind of turned around and said, if he's got 25 grand wages, like that's 25 grand that we can package to somebody else for a 50, 60 grand contract to get a better player in. And, and the logic in me says it does make sense. At the start of the season, it wouldn't have been something that a lot of Burnley fans would have been like, oh, I'm not opposed to him going, but it still hurts nonetheless. Club legend and a great bloke, 100%.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough day. It's like Eaton leaving all over again, isn't it? And Sam Vokes. We all kind of just went, nice mug, by the way, Sam. Enjoyed that. I kind of, it's one of them. I kind of see it as, I'm gutted, but you kind of understand why they're doing it, why they are saying no, and why they do have to leave. Wish him all the best in the future. Hope he has a better post Burnley time than Sam Vokes, because he didn't really enjoy his time at Stoke. I think he's done well at Wickham though, so hopefully Ash can choose the right club. I want him to be loved by someone else as well, just like Ben Mee has been, and so has Tarker. Neil, your thoughts on Ash leaving?
Yeah, same. I think obviously I didn't know until we got him. We were speaking about it last night, weren't we, about where it might end up. It'd be weird seeing him playing for somebody else in this country. I think Westy in the MLS is a good shout, but I think we've sort of expected it all year, haven't we? We've sort of said it's his last season, so it can't come as that much of a surprise. But the way he's been playing, he's genuinely in the discussion for Player of the Year for me in the certainly second half of the season. Anyway, he's been phenomenal. So I thought that might have been enough to get another year out of him, but it doesn't look like that's happening. So we've just got to move on, haven't we? And hope he finds the right club.
Yeah, I'd have hoped he'd have stuck around. I said, I hope he'd have stuck around for another year just to help, just be another one of them lads that help guide the younger players, because he's done it in the Prem, like he's been around the bush. He knows how to play the game. He knows
He's
how
great
to.
this season, mate. He's great this season. He's been he's played like a captain. I've said that before.
Yeah,
He's
and you
some
can
of the
see
bigger
that.
games.
You can see that in the celebrations. Like it were the likes of like Teller, Benson. You know, you're all like the young new lads that were like surrounding him and like encouraging him to like take the plaudits off the fans because you were a bit reluctant to do so because I think you were getting a bit emotional, but you could sense the younger lads were like, no, we see Barnesy as like a statesman in this group and like, you know, so to be fair, there's a lot of time between now and the transfer window, so maybe there might be some change in that. I don't know. It sort of felt definitive and got finished there, but the club might recognise the bit, not backlash, but like they might recognise what Ashley brings to the club. I don't know. Maybe. Yeah. Whether they get influenced by us, I don't know.
Yeah, I've been told Vincent Kompany's an avid listener. No, I haven't really. But Mark Hickson makes a good point. Might go back to Plymouth. That just makes sense, doesn't it? To be fair, Plymouth doing well this season, so they could be in the Championship next year. To be fair,
I think MLS would be perfect for him.
Well, Sean, I was just going to read the comment out here. Sean Domini says he doesn't think that MLS will suit his shithousery, and of course he's a family man as well. So, I mean, you can take your family with you. To be fair, I'll put this one to the floor rather than asking individuals. So fight amongst yourselves. But why do you think there's been such a disparity between Ashley Barnes' first half of the season and Ashley Barnes' second half of the season? Because first half of the season, so many of us were sort of like saying, "Oh, he's done. We'd love him, but he's done." There were some people slagging him off on Twitter, saying, "You know, he shouldn't be anywhere near the team" and stuff like that. Then he gets the goals against Blackburn. And then after that, he's a different animal. Do you think it were the goals against Blackburn? Do you think Kompany's had a word in his ear, or what do you think?
I think the start of the season was him getting to speed with the new system. He's had 10 years of the Dyche way of playing football, and he's come in to a younger group of players who play a faster, dynamic game that, to be fair, is not his game. Yeah. So I think it was a case of get used to the system and get his fitness up because he didn't look fit either. And I also think Kompany's changed his game a little bit. Kompany has clearly coached all the lads because everybody is better now than they were when they started. He's just coached them to improve, and I think Ashley is another one of those who's benefited from that. He's just changed his game. That's what I think's happened anyway.
Yep, Harry agrees with you. Jamie Budd agrees with you on screen now. Mark Higson also going on screen now. Kompany's coaching has rejuvenated him. I agree with you, to be honest, Neil. I do think that it just took a little bit of time to get used to the system, and he's got better in that system and grown in confidence.
Yeah, exactly that. And I think the goals were just the sort of peak of he's arrived sort of thing.
Yeah. I think as well that, like you mentioned as well, Nathan, the way he celebrates the goals as well, you could tell it still means so much to him. It's going to be a sad day when he leaves. It's going to be an even sadder day when I see him wearing another club's top. But it's just one of them things, isn't it? Just one of them things. You've got to get used to it as a football fan. And Harry says, think Neil's got that spot on. So there you go.
There you go. I'm not often wrong, mate. I'm not often wrong.
I do want to talk about the start because I know we touched on it earlier, especially you, Neil. And there were some comments coming in, but we're getting loads of comments coming in. Obviously, there's a lot of people watching it today. This is why I pushed it back an hour as well because I thought 10 a.m. is probably a bit early. I'll push it back an hour. A few people are going to be rough. So we'll see. But you alluded to it early, Neil, so I'll start with you. Do you think it was nerves? Because we spoke about this last night, didn't we, walking back to the car? That we started slowly, as you've just mentioned, and I said I think it was just nerves. I just think it's a young team on the verge of something special. Obviously, they've achieved it now. And by the way, I don't know if Solent Clarence put this stat in because, like I said, we're getting too many fucking comments. But we are the first team to ever achieve promotion with 7 or more games remaining from the Championship. Bit of a mouthful, but I got there. So they have achieved something special. So do you just think it were nerves? Because they weren't great against Sunderland either, were they?
No, well, we said then, didn't we, that I think nerves are creeping in a little bit because we're so close to that finish line. Because these lads, with all due respect, have not won anything. Apart like Kompany obviously has, and we've got the lads who've been promoted and played in the Premier League. But the rest of them, it's new. They've come to England. Some of them haven't played in this country, and they're so close to getting Premier League football, which is where every football player wants to be. It's bound to get nerves. They're bound to get nerves in there. And I think that's exactly what it was. I think it was just. I think they'll deny it, but they 100% will have watched the Luton match in the morning. So they'll know that it was on them to do it. And of course it was nerves. Of course it was.
Yeah. It's a long
Sam,
time.
What do you think?
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, go on. No, Nathan, go on. He's jumped in ahead of you, Sam. Sorry, man.
I was just backing up that Luton thing. It's a long time to dwell on that result, because like I were getting edgy through the day, and I'm just watching from outside. Like I saw the Luton were coming, and I was like getting annoyed through the day. I was like, come on, let's just get this game over and done with. And like it just felt forever. Like it finished at like half 2:00, didn't it? So we had like nearly 6 hours. Like imagine if you're gearing up for a game and you've got 6 hours. That's just playing through your mind of all we got to do is win. All you got to do is win. But that's football sometimes, where all you got to do is win, and it just doesn't happen no matter what. So yeah, I think the nerves comes back off that they did. Yeah, know about that Luton game.
Yeah, I don't care what any footballer says. They watch the matches. I know they always say we don't, but they definitely do. They definitely do. Sam, your thoughts on the slow start and do you think it were nerves?
Oh yeah, 100%. But I mean, for us to have nerves, and like I've said it since the international break, like the gravity of the situation starts to become real. You get down to your last kind of 7-8 games. These games become crucial. You lose, for example, if we'd have carried on with his draw with Sunderland, lost to Borough, lost to Sheffield United. Sheffield United are 5 points behind us, so that changes the whole dynamic for the title. And then Middlesbrough obviously pick up points, Sheffield United pick up points. Everybody's back in the fold, and the whole scenario becomes different again. Like we're not breezing the league again now. We're in a battle to try and win the title, and that type of thing changes. So for us to go through a nervy patch and still come out with promotion and a win and a draw, to me, it just shows how good this team is. Regardless of the nerves, regardless of anything, we've played 40 games this season. I believe it's 39 or 40. And we have lost 2 games this season. And I've said it to you week in, week out when I come on this podcast. Literally, why are we all nervous in games?
I know. It's mad. I was talking to somebody on way to game last night. I think it was Simon. I can't remember. I don't phone it call. And I was talking about the earlier game against Middlesbrough and how they went 1-0 up. And I said, I remember looking back now, I weren't nervous when they went 1-0 up because I'm just expecting them to come back and win. But I think recently I have been a little bit nervous when teams score against us. I was on TV last night at 1-1, as I think you texted me, Sam, saying it. And I looked fuming. I'm everywhere, mate. I get where water done. But I was fuming, and everyone's messaging me, sending me zoomed in pictures of my face looking fuming, because I was fuming, because last night I'm thinking, we've fucking thrown it away. But thankfully they showed some great character and come back. But absolutely brilliant. What a night. Really, really good night. Really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was really good. In the end anyway, it was a bit nervy at the start, but yeah, in the end it was class.
Yeah. I did get a chance to get up there. I sort of slept on the tickets when it first came out, and I thought, it'll get kicked down the car, get kicked down the road a bit later on. We won't get promoted there. And then as it came to it, I'm like, so I ended up in Whalley. I was saying to lads before, and I ended up in Whalley watching it with a couple of mates. And this pub were just full of Rovers fans, and they were so bitter all the way through it. Like they kept walking in front of the TV. They were celebrating when Middlesbrough scored, and then literally as the final whistle went, they just switched it off and put Masters on straight away. And I just looked. One of the best places we could have watched it. I know, it'd have been nice to have been with a load of Burnley fans, but it was just so satisfying to see them so riled up and bitter about something that has no influence on them whatsoever.
Yeah. There's been a lot of tears from the Rovers fans on Twitter. It has been an absolute sight to behold. There's been some historic tweets that have been dug back up as well, which has been an absolute sight.
There's been a lot of safe tweets resurfaced.
Loving them.
Yeah. But my favourite one was, I've alluded to it myself over Christmas because we were top of the league at Christmas. Company sacked by Christmas by one, I can't remember the username, Salford Rover or something, and that was funny. Enjoyed that.
Yeah,
one.
has Company sacked by Christmas even been to Burnley yet?
Yeah. What a bell end. Keep your comments coming in. Got 95 concurrent viewers now. Research Johan's tweet beats the rest. That was funny, but I do feel sorry for that Rovers fan because straight away, soon as that clip went out, he messaged me privately and said, "Your fans are going to hate me." I'm like, "Why? What have you done?" It's like, they've put a clip out and I praised you for 5 minutes, but then I said something not so a bit negative, and then they've clipped it up and gone with it. And I went on it, and Burnley fans had already seen it, giving him loads of shit. So I tagged him in it last night, and he put again in this group that I'm in with him, fucking hell, Johan Berg Gummelson's throwing me under the bus here. So that was the best.
Yeah, Johan's well had a few beers and he got shirty on Twitter, and I love it. But like, why has he even said that? Like, fair enough, he praises, but why has he then followed up with that comment? Because that comment's ridiculous.
It's
Like,
probably, I don't know. It's like I said, I'm going to get him on the pre-game show before that game, so I am going to ask him. But hopefully, he comes on and can do it. But I just think he's probably thought I've praised him too much. Yeah, I need to stay on brand.
Yeah, it's a poor take on us. Is that I'm sorry, but it's. I mean, he could have praised us for fucking 24 hours, and it doesn't make a difference. He's still saying that. Sounds so bad. It is what it is, isn't it? Like,
it's almost as bad as what Don Goodman said. Yeah. What Don Goodman said is stupid.
He's not. I don't even know how he's got a job. To be honest,
he's a mug.
Keep your comments coming in. Like I said, it's gone down now. We had 95, it's 88. Come back. We've got lots of comments coming in. I've not been able to get them all on screen. I'll try and get some now. The True Red. Someone was talking to me about him last night. About you, should I say True Red? Jack Kime, I think it was, if you know him. He said, "Hi Joe, what a magical night that was in the history of Burnley to watch. Nobody can say they expect to this going back in the summer, years ahead, like Vincent Kompany confirmed." I'll be honest, a lot of people last night were going, a couple of people were saying, I thought we were staring League One in the face. I didn't think we'd come back so soon. I didn't think we'd do this. I thought we'd be there or thereabouts. I thought we'd be making a late charge. I've said it on the podcast quite a lot. Maybe it took time to get used to Kompany's style. But what a way to do it. We've absolutely steamrolled that league. Absolutely steamrolled that league.
Alan Pace didn't even expect it. Did you see his thing where he said it was about 2 or 3 years ahead of what the plan was? He wasn't expecting it.
I've not had a chance to digest all the actual content yet because I've been too busy concentrating on my own content and then driving back and then going to sleep and then getting up and preparing for this. I say preparing. That underneath that third line, that's literally just some notes that I've just done now. I had to create the picture. I did have to create the picture. But John Mead says, "Good morning, Joe. The Clarets were back looking good on TV on your own little picky on Getty Images." I haven't seen that. I remember it being taken, but I haven't seen it yet. M. Mac says, "Big news by Ashley Barnes. Seems it's in the club hands. What happens moving forward? It looks like he is going." Yeah, we have discussed that, mate. Having said that, you probably know that. I'm going back to comments about 20 minutes ago here. Jamie Budd says, "Only fans you could hear on TV were Burnley fans." Yeah, great atmosphere, like we said earlier. Joe Clark watched it with my dad and granddad. Middlesbrough fans were celebrating like they'd won the league with their equaliser. When Connor shushed him after scoring, it was fantastic. It was, weren't it, lads? I didn't realise he'd shushed him. Because as soon as that goal went in, I mean, by the way, whoever works in the Burnley ticket office, why did I get a disabled ticket? I went on my own, and I'm sat in the disabled end. I was fuming. Right, I got there, and this woman obviously sat there in like not a wheelchair, but I think like a Zimmer frame with wheels thing. And I get there, and I'm like, is this row 9, love? And she's like, "This is disabled end. You can't sit in here." I'm like, "But is it row 9? She's like, "Oh, it's disabled end, love." I'm like, "Yeah, but is it row 9? She went, "I think so." She looked at her ticket, row 9, seat 251. I'm like, "Yeah, I'm in row 9, seat 252. She's like, "Oh, well, this is disabled end. You can't sit here." I'm like, "I'm going to have to. I can't sit anywhere else." So I had a good view looking at the Middlesbrough fans.
It was proper funny, mate, because obviously you messaged me saying you're there, and obviously that was right in front of me, and I'm just looking, and you're just there.
On my own.
What's he doing there?
Yeah, I just couldn't believe it. But I had a good view at Middlesbrough fans, and we're giving us loads of grief when they went 1-1. Yeah. Or ones without any teeth and stuff. Some of them lobbing coins.
Oh,
and then as soon as that goal went in, I just steamrolled through the disabled end over towards their fans, giving it large. Yeah. But
to be fair, when I watched it on telly, I don't know if you saw it, Sam, but like there were quite a few like projectiles thrown. To be fair,
yeah,
you know, like he's lucky he only got hit with one, really, only Goodmanson got hit with one. But it could have been an answer on that.
It's a melty thing to do though, like like you've seen it with Ferdinand back in there, and stuff like that. It's just a proper melty thing to do. Like
I didn't get their fans, mate. They just all seemed really angry for like nothing to see why angry for. But.
Like I say, like I've and they're probably one of the main teams in the league that I've praised this season. Like the Carrick to come in and do the job that he's done is incredible. They were 21st when he took over. They're now 3rd in the league. They had an opportunity to go 2nd, but there's definitely one of the, if not the best team in the playoffs. I'd love to see them go up, but things like that, like it's just, it's not part of football. Like it's just stupid.
No. Yeah. It just makes no sense. Like I feel like it's still going on, this forced rivalry between us and Borough, and I don't know which side. I can't work out who's forcing it. Sometimes it feels like we're forcing it. Sometimes it feels like they're forcing it. But last night I thought, why are they throwing coins? Like, you know what I mean? I don't get it. Like, one's a fucking cost of living crisis on, man. Like, keep it in your pocket. You know what I mean?
I would have rather than nabbed it.
I know.
I remember when Burnley fans were coining at Didier Drogba all them years ago when we won at Stamford Bridge. I remember thinking at the time, because it were a pound coin, I'm like, who chucks a pound coin? That was my first thought. My first thought was, what a dickhead. Like, who chucks a pound coin? But just going back to that moment, I said then, Oliver Ralston must have seen it. He says personal favourite moment of the match was after the second goal went in, seeing you giving it the big one. I wish I'd have seen myself doing it. I didn't see myself doing it. But I realised I was being a bit of a bellend. It's like, you know, when you lose yourself and you give it bigger and then you realise I'm being a bit ridiculous. I'm 35, I need to grow up. So then I come back and chilled out a bit.
That's what I was thinking when I said you do it. I was like, what?
I do sometimes think that. I do sometimes do something like that. And I think, are people going to be looking at me here thinking, oh, that's that guy who does that YouTube channel. What a dickhead. I'm not watching it anymore. So then I think, I should probably stop. But yeah, keep your comments coming in, especially if you saw me making a bellend of myself. Mark Higson, as good as Muric has been, I think we need an upgrade for the Premier League or serious competition for him. We'll probably discuss that on a different show, mate. Yeah, we'll discuss that on a different show.
I don't get it. I
thought he played well last night. He collected like 3 or 4 crosses late on and proper took the pressure off the defence. If Nick Pope had been doing that, everybody going, oh, look at him, he catches everything.
Yeah. You know what I liked? What he was doing last night was really early on, he was catching easy crosses and then just collapsing.
Just slowing it down, The kid's 22, 6'5". He's trained under Pep Guardiola. He's now trained under Vincent Kompany. He's got so many years left in him. Like, why are we judging him on his ability now? Like, the kid's already good enough for the Championship. He's in the best team that the Championship's ever seen, I think, anyway. Like, leave him be. Like, let him do his thing. He's not put much of a foot wrong. The times he has, the few and far between, but that's why I remember him, because there's so few of them. You know what I mean? Like, if you were making ricks after ricks after ricks, he won't be in this team. Company won't settle for it.
He's a newer style goalkeeper is the main thing that I've seen. There's not many, like, any goalkeeper should be a shot stopper. If you can't stop the ball going in goal, you're a pretty shit goalkeeper. Really.
Basic,
His ability to catch the ball, and the first thing that he thinks is, I can hoof it to Teller and I can get us up the pitch. I can play it wide to Maatsen. I can drop the ball on the floor and play it to my centre halves because I know that they've got the quality to play the ball as well. He's a new style goalkeeper, and it goes back to what we said weeks and weeks and weeks ago, where we were talking about the new style of play and Burnley fans coming around to it. Some still can't understand that we are playing out from the back and that we're playing through channels and we're playing up in stages, and some Burnley fans still can't totally understand that. Muric is the perfect goalkeeper to have in this system. And if you don't stick with him, you end up like other teams, like Watford's, where you sack managers and sack players and sack them off and bring in new players every season, and nothing's the same and everything's different. You're going up and down and up and down. We still need some stability, and Muric has shown that he's a good enough goalkeeper to stay in that position for me.
Yeah, I've said before on here that he's a key part of that system. If he's not playing, then that system doesn't work, and our whole play is completely different to how it is. And that's the games where we've not steamrolled. It's the games where he's not been a part of it.
He becomes the 11th outfield player for us.
He's the champion. You know I was just going to say he's the Championship's best midfielder. So
and that's so difficult to break down if you're now pressing, instead of pressing 10 players, you're pressing 11, or like you're playing against 11. You know what I mean? Some other people haven't grasped that yet. That he's got 2 primary roles. One is a goalkeeper and to be a fucking sweeper. Like, they need to grasp that that's his primary job. It's not his secondary job. They're on par of the jobs. Like, he's the 11th outfield player for us. Like,
and when it comes to closing him down, like when it comes to the playing out from the backside of things, you see the best teams in the world cock it up sometimes. You know, playing out from the back.
Man City haven't been great at doing it over the last few games.
Well, they did it against us. They couldn't play out from the back for the first couple of minutes, like first 25 minutes, because we hounded them that much. They were playing ball over the top, and we had a lot of joy with that. Like, the thing is, like, if that's the area of Muric's game that you're annoyed about, you're more annoyed about the style of play than the individual, because you're more annoyed about playing out from the back. I feel like it's a really weird argument to be like, when he plays the ball at the midfield, it's not great. How far goals have come from him playing the ball to Cullen, going to Mats and playing it down line and crossing the ball in the box? Like, you can't have your cake and eat it. You've got to take the good with the bad and understand it's part of it.
Yeah, good points all round. I don't get the hate. It's good that we always have the Muric president fan club person, Neil, on here. And he was messaging me last night saying, I've sat with up Muric here, it's well annoying. But even the goal we conceded, the guy behind me blamed Muric. And I was like, how was he blaming Muric? He's like, he should have bloody caught that, bloody hell. If you've watched it back...
He was that far off, isn't it?
Yeah.
He was that far off.
He's done well to get a fist on it.
Yeah.
It's just some people just can't. Even last night, some people just can't. They can't fucking.
Some
be happy.
people have got to just moan because
I
that's,
thought I was miserable, and I am quite miserable. But some people are a lot more miserable than me. But obviously, I want to keep the tone of it up. It's good to see everyone still backing him in the comments and stuff. But I use Man City as an example because I spoke to a Man City fan recently. One of my bosses at work is a Man City fan, and he was saying that even their fans can't get used to it yet, and they've been doing it for years and won pretty much everything there is to win, apart from the Champions League, obviously. So I think there's a certain fan that is just so set in the ways that they'll just never get used to it. So I just think we're going to have to always just get used to it. Like City fans, apparently some of them hate Edison and they hate that style. It's just how it is, which just in fact it's baffling to me. But it is what it is. Obviously, eyes turn to next season now. We'll do a sort of round table thing again. I'll start with Sam this time because I haven't started with Sam yet. How do you think we're going to do in the Premier League next season?
Well, I think, the pessimist in me would like to say comfortably avoid relegation. The optimist says a top half finish and maybe an FA Cup. Who knows? No, I think it depends on recruitment. I think recruitment is a huge part of this. I think I was saying before we came on, this is going to be really exciting now to see an Alan Pace summer transfer window with a manager who has an idea of what he wants and a budget to bring in better players. And we saw it with the likes of Cornet. His ability to go out to a different country and convince a player to come. He tried it with Orsic, and obviously Orsic, wet-arsed it and stayed in Zagreb for another year.
But I hope he enjoys the Championship next year.
Well, exactly. Life comes at you fast, doesn't it? But the thing that the main areas that I'd love to see is, I was saying it to my dad this morning, and I said it about Scott Twine last season. Any club with ambition goes and buys Scott Twine, and that set a precedent because he was the best player available to go by. Now, I would love to see Burnley finally have a midfield general, like a genuine central midfielder who controls the game, who has ability on the ball, can play the ball through the lines, forward, backwards, like an Onana from Everton. A player like that would be unbelievable. The striker situation is a little bit difficult to put your finger on because obviously I know people say Lyle Foster's the guy. I'd still like to see Gyökeres come in personally. I just think he'd solid that section up. And then all these loan players, just bring them back. There's talk of Howard Bellis signing on loan again for us next season. Apparently we're pipping Newcastle to him. Obviously, if we could manage to get Teller and Maatsen and obviously Bayer, Obafemi, I think is already done, is he? Because I think there were clauses.
I think he got confirmed last night. Yeah.
So these players are all coming in, and then just the player. I think the main thing for me, sorry to have rambled on for so long, but the main thing for me that I just love is all the other seasons we seem to have come up with like the same team, or we've invested in areas, but it's always felt like, we can invest there a little bit and there a little bit, but it's more or less the same team. This season, we're going up with a team that genuinely is good enough to stay in the Premier League on its own. So improving that, I just think we could go from strength to strength and really solidate ourselves in the Premier League.
No, I agree. And the fact that you mentioned the FA Cup, and I do think it's probably a little bit too far because the big six do tend to monopolise all the trophies these days. You'd see clubs every now and then win, most years win a League Cup, and every now and then at a smaller club in the FA Cup as well. But that's the one thing that I want to see us do. I've seen us do everything now. Win everywhere, beat everybody, play in Europe. I just love to see us win a major honour, an actual trophy, a major honour. That's the one thing I would want to see us do. But first and foremost, I think obviously the aim's got to be staying up and then push on from there. But I do think we are capable of pushing into the top 10. Definitely 12th, 13th, as M-Mac says on the screen there. Neil, your thoughts on next season? Where do you think that we'll finish?
Yeah, so I've said before, there's two Premier Leagues in there. You've got the top, who are just elite and beyond everybody else, and the rest is not far Championship standard, let's be honest. So I think we can comfortably finish the top of the rest, if that makes sense.
I think we're better than a lot of the bottom 8.
Yeah, honestly. We are. Yeah. I think we are. So I think we're looking at mid-table. Yeah. Mid-table. And I'm really, really confident that Company's got a clear idea of who he wants and what sort of player he wants, and I think he's got the pull to get them as well. So I'm really excited for this transfer window. I don't think it's going to be fucking Dale Stevens on the last day of the window anymore. It's going to be done, dusted. He's going to get them in early. Pace will already have the list of who he wants, and I think we'll see some movement very quickly.
Yeah, I agree. I'm just looking at the bottom 8 of the Premier League, actually. Southampton, excuse me, we're better than them. Leicester, I think we're better than them. Bournemouth, we're better than them. We're beating them. Forest, I think we're better. They've got good players, but they're not a team, so we're better than them. I know True Red's in the chat. Everton, I think again, we're better than them, but I always worry about a Sean Dyche side against his current side, but I think we're better than them. West Ham, they're just a fucking shambles. Wolves have looked better under the new gaffer. Leeds have got a couple of good players that I think are just keeping them their head above the water, similar to last season. Obviously, they've got that big Willie and Sinisterra. They're class players, and got some other ones as well. Palace look a little bit better now under Roy, and again, they've got some great individuals. And then there's Chelsea in 11th. Better than them. Definitely better than them.
Under Lampard, especially. Under Lampard, we are definitely better than them.
That's the point, yeah. We're better than any Lampard team. Nathan, how do you think we're going to do next season?
Yeah, I think we're going to be all right. Like I think Sam said, that I think this team now is already equipped to probably stay up. Probably to finish like 16th. I think it's it's got everything it needs. But the fact that we're going to add to it and develop these players, like I think Company mentioned it last night in his chat, that he's saying most of these lads have never had what they've got now, which is like a full season and then a title win and a promotion. Like, they're going to learn from that so much. Like, they're going to walk into that Premier League next season like flying, absolutely up, like flying. Like even like Benson tweeted us saying like, "Look, Mum, I made it." Like these lads are just, they've worked all their lives to be in this Premier League. Like all these young foreign lads, all they want is to play in the Premier League. It's the best league in the world, and now they get to do it, and we get to benefit. They get to do it in a Burnley shirt, and they're going to give everything they can, I think, to push on. Like I say, like what Neil said, I think this season it's felt like if you're 10th and above, you're pushing for Champions League. If you're not, you're getting relegated. Like, there's a massive like stark difference between the bottom half and top half, and I do think we're going to be comfortably top end of that bottom half of the table. I think we're going to be fine. I think we're going to absolutely be fine, especially with Alan Pace's recruitment and Company's pull.
Yes, well that brings me on nicely, Nathan, so I'm glad you did that. And seeing as you made the segment perfect, we'll start with you. Obviously, we're going to be bringing some players in. I know we've already signed some players. I think the January transfer signings were made with a view to Premier League. So I agree with you. Like, I do want another striker. I like Lyle, but I want to see more from him to know that he can do it in the Prem. And another striker is not going to hurt anyway. But next season, in terms of transfers, I know it's going to be difficult to guess. I know people are going to say, "Oh, I want this guy out and that guy." So we'll look at areas that we do need to strengthen. Is it midfield, central midfield, that's the main area? I think it is.
Yeah, I think it is. I think, Sam said, I think we need that sort of like midfield general. I've been disagreed with by a dog. I think we need like a decent. And we've got decent midfielders, but I think we just need that next step up now to be a proper stalwart in midfield, someone that is going to get the ball. I mean, and as I'm talking to myself, I'm now talking myself out of the idea, because I'm thinking Josh Cullen probably is going to be that player, because he's actually ridiculous. Yeah, the more I think about it, the more I'm like, I've returned my opinion and think that Josh Cullen probably will take that next step up, because I think he's going to have a serious point to prove next year, because he's been palmed off by West Ham. He's done around gone around the houses a bit and stuff, and I think he could be, probably one of the better performers for us. But I do think another addition, definitely two strikers to replace looking like Barnes and Jay now. I think that's going to be pretty obvious. But yeah, a lot of it depends on the loan moves. I think I'm still 50-50 on Teller whether he's actually going to get the chance to come back. Because I think you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. If Southampton stay up, they're going to need him next year. If they go down, they're going to need him next year. So it's like, I don't know what, and I don't know how much player power Teller's got at Southampton. He's got a big contract. They're going to want silly money. Yeah, so that's a tough one.
Yeah, with Teller, I just can't see, if they go down, I can't see him staying. I can't see him staying at Southampton, I mean, by the way. I think he'll come here. It's not necessarily about player. If he just says, "Look, I want to go to Burnley," why would you turn around and say to him, "No, you're coming back to us"? Because he's going to be like, "Oh, I don't really want to do this," and he's not going to have look at how much he loves it here. Like he genuinely, you can tell he's always smiling. Last night doing that interview where he's like back to the studio, he had the shirt on his head. You know what I mean? All the lads celebrate. I'd be very surprised if Southampton got relegated, which I think is pretty much bang on. That he plays in the Championship for them next season. If I'm honest with you, if they stay up, that's a different matter. He might think, oh well, I might as well stay in the Prem. Sam, your thoughts on the summer transfer window and the areas that you think we need to strengthen? Do you think CDM, central midfielder, is the right way about it?
I totally agree with what you're saying about Cullen. Totally do. But the thing that I mean in central midfield is I think Cullen can play a little bit more advanced. Like not in a sense of he'll play like behind the strikers, but I'm talking about the guy who's next to Cullen is the guy who literally is just no nonsense, like wins the ball back, really big, really physical, wins us the ball back in midfield, and also has the ability to spray the ball. I feel like Cullen's a really good on the ball player. He's really good at getting in the pocket, turning and spreading play. So for me, I'd love to see somebody who can shore up that midfield with Cullen, because one of our issues, I think, since Cork hasn't been in there, is when you've got Brownhill in there, he's a little bit like that player who kind of comes in, plays feet, runs off, plays in behind. And I don't think Brownhill's best position is in central midfield. I think he's better as the player behind the striker. So I think to shore up that area, I do think a CDM would be great. I do think we're pretty set on fullbacks, but there obviously was talk a few months ago about us signing potentially a couple of free pre-contracts with players from Portugal in fullbacks. I mean, they just, I don't know if that's true, but they just fill in a role at fullback. I think if we can bring in all of our loan players back, I think the fact that, I mean, I don't even know if this is true, but I just read it this morning that Howard Bellis has basically said he'd like to come back on loan for Burnley and would basically pip in teams from the Premier League to him. I think that'd be great. Tell us the 50-50 one, and I totally agree with that notion of if they go down, I think he's ours. I don't think anybody else will come in for him, and I don't think anybody else will have the pull to bring him in. I think if they stay up, I also think it'd be a bit of a weird one as well, because it's like, from my perspective, obviously it's a little bit, claret and blue tinted glasses, but he's left Southampton. They've told him he's not good enough, and then they've bought Sulemana, Orsic, whilst also having like Stuart Armstrong and players like that. They've got a lot of wide midfielders now. If you're Southampton and you stay in the Premier League, like, how are you going to turn around to like Miroslav Orsic and Sulemana, who you've brought in on lucrative contracts, and turn around and say, this kid that we didn't think were good enough is now better than you. You're now surplus to requirements. I just don't know how that totally works. I can't see a world where we don't get Nathan Teller personally.
Yeah, I agree. It'd be so. Only if they stay up, there's a chance of us not getting in. But even then, I'd be very, very surprised. Reece Nunn says, completely agree with that. Cullen can't do it on his own, and Brownhill isn't good enough in that position against Premier League opposition. Bring someone in at CDM and then push Brownhill up the pitch. I've been saying that for ages. Like, Brownhill's wasted in that position. He needs to be pushed. Look at how well he started the season. The guy is so good, but he gets a bit of stick off Burnley fans, and it kind of pisses me off because he's so much better. But he's a square peg in a round hole at the minute. And even last night he got an assist, bit fortunate, but still, you'll think it would go in anyway. But Neil, your thoughts? Neil, your thoughts on the transfer window and where we need to strengthen? You agree with the lads?
Yeah, I agree. We need a CDM. It showed. I mean, even last night we were so much better when Cork came on. We just looked a bit more confident, a bit more solid in midfield. So I think we need that sort of player to complement the others. Brownhill 100% is better further up the pitch. He said that himself when we were last in the Premier League and he was playing in the centre. He even said or it was his brother or someone was saying that that's not his best position. So I think we know that we need someone to go alongside Cullen. Because I don't think Jack Cork's going to leave, but I don't think he's going to play every week. So it's someone to fill that void, and definitely a striker, because even if I don't want to get on Foster's back, but even if he is good enough and we keep him, we're still going to need someone else if Ashley's leaving. So, and Jay's probably going to go as well. So we're still going to need another striker anyway. So those will be the two priorities for me, and get the lads on loan to sign permanently.
I feel like Foster's gone into company's bad books since the international break.
Yeah,
he made a comment.
There's a few players.
But I don't know where. I feel like that passport thing was just a bit of there's something about it. I can't quite put my finger on it. He got asked in the pre-match for this a couple of days ago, and he just gave a straight answer. He was like, "Yeah, passport thing sorted." Like, he was just deadpan about it, and I thought, hold on a minute, hold on a minute, And
There's a few there.
I've not seen him post anything yet, or is he? I might be wrong.
He posted on Instagram earlier.
Did he? Right.
Yeah, but I totally agree with that. Like, one of my things with Foster is, like, out of nowhere, we signed this player.
Yeah.
And it's a big amount of money. Like, we've said it on here before, like, of course you pay a little bit more money for strikers and stuff like that. It's a lot of money to pay somebody for a striker in Championship. And when we signed him, everybody thought, this is it now. Barnes is dropping to the bench. He's the understudy now. And Foster's going to come in and really get going. And I don't know if it was Joe who said it, but he said, like, Foster could obviously do it in the Premier League, and obviously he will be there and thereabouts.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen enough from him in the Championship to even warrant him being a Premier League striker. I'm sorry. I don't mean that in any way disrespect, because he could be brilliant. But when we signed him, I thought, right, he's got the second half of the season now. He's only featured about 6-7 times. Only started 2-3 games. I don't think that's enough to say he's the main man for next season. I just don't.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's weird with Lyle, because I didn't know any stuff about this company bad books thing, or I know we're playing devil's advocate a bit here, but potentially. So it'd be interesting to see that. But he's been one of them. Like, you see glimpses of him, and you think, oh yeah, finally he's clicking into the system, and then he just has a bad game. But he got the goal against Wigan, so I'm hoping he kicks on a little bit there. And obviously did
there's
well.
A few players though in the way you wonder if they've fallen into bad books, because there's him, there's Scott Twine, there's Cherlinov. There's a couple who just aren't getting a look in.
Cherlinov as well, yeah.
You just wonder if there's a few who maybe have fallen into that bracket of companies already decided maybe.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. But sticking with strikers, and I weren't going to discuss this, but we've seen a comment from everybody's favourite TurfCast statistician, Solent Clarets. And I'll start with Sam, because I know Sam has a good opinion on this, which I don't agree with. But he says, much as he is a knob, Vegos wouldn't fit well into our current system. I'm not sure he does, because he's at Man United now. He's at Man United now. Exactly, he's at Man United now, and they're trying to get the ball to him, and he's just too fucking slow. He's too slow, he's too lethargic, and he's clearly not.
He's Peter Crouch with the ego of Messi, man.
No,
he's not good enough.
Listen, right? So, with Vegos, right? I have also come round to the idea that he doesn't fit our system. He doesn't. I also know this. Like, maybe 2-3 months ago, there was an argument there of, if we feed him the ball, which we didn't from before, is he going to be better? That has now completely gone, because he's playing for Manchester United and he's still not scoring. However, I have put on social media a few times that I personally think he is Gary Neville and Man United's scapegoat. And not from the perspective of, he is a great striker and he was meant to go there and score loads of goals and he was going to be the main striker for years. I don't agree with that. My thing with Weghorst is, when you say they're giving him the ball, they give it to everybody else but him. They don't play the ball into the box ever. I've watched so many United games over the last couple of weeks and the ball never goes in the box. Yeah. And the last game that they played, who did they play against last weekend? And they lost.
Newcastle, weren't it?
Did they lose?
Yeah, they got beat against Newcastle, but I don't even know if he played.
Gary Neville, all game, right? Every single Man United player was shit. Every single one of them, they were all crap. And all game he was going, Weghorst hasn't touched ball very much. Weghorst hasn't done it. I'm just thinking, like, if you're going to moan about a team's performance, moan about everybody, don't blame the number 9 who hasn't been given the ball at all by anybody else because the rest of the team's playing shit. That's my only opinion. I don't think he should come back to Burnley in any way, shape or form. I don't think he deserves to come back to Burnley. I think we deserve to go and spend 20 million quid on Gyökeres and say, thank you very much. We've now got our physical, brilliant striker, and Weghorst, you can fuck off to wherever you want to go. But,
that was my argument. That's what I was going to mention. I don't think he's a bad footballer, and I think he probably could be okay for it was just the way that he dealt with it at the end of the season. The fact that he just point blank said, I ain't playing in the fucking Championship. You're on your own, off your pop. Yeah. I thought, get fucked. Like, honestly, get gone. I don't want that anywhere near, regardless who's the manager, who's the players. I don't care if you're the best player on the planet. Get fucked. You don't do that at Burnley. I'm sorry, you don't. Like,
that video's not good.
Acid, horrible. It was scripted. It was horrible. Like, we're a working class town. we work hard for the fucking money, we work hard, we spend it at the football club, and he wasn't willing to come down and show why he deserved to be in that shirt.
Sat in his house, like fucking had legs up like that, going, yeah, I come back. It's just like, you know, like I'm not being funny, but I said 2 months ago, the whole situation, I'd have said, we don't know how Weghorst would have done in a system that creates chances. That was my only argument. However, I just, it's too far gone now. You're watching him at United, it's also not working. But I just wanted to get my 2 pence in about him being a scapegoat for United, because honestly, Gary Neville last weekend would fucking honestly.
Gary Neville is football's biggest hypocrite, mate.
It was just annoying the life out of me, because it's like a bad Man United performance is put on one player that he doesn't think deserves to be there. When all Weghorst is actually doing, in my opinion, playing for Man United, is trying to play for badge, and he's loving every moment playing for United. And if it doesn't happen next season, he doesn't sign permanently, he's still got that on his resume that he's played for Man United every game. And I'm not being funny, but Erik ten Hag is a good manager, so he's not sat there playing Weghorst for fucking no reason.
That we've just killed Joe's appearance on the overlap next year with all this Gary Neville slander.
Just if you're watching Gary, I quite like you, Gary. Jamie Carragher on the other end. Jamie Carragher on the other end. He's a bit rebellious.
I need to kiss him.
I will do. If he pays me enough money next time I go on the overlap, I will do. I want to talk about Monday. Obviously, big game on Monday, but you've got to imagine that if they haven't got any pelvic injuries from all that thrusting they did last night, they're going to have sore heads anyway. It's going to be a tough one, isn't it, Monday? Because they're a good side, and they're all pissed. They're all waking up this morning with bad heads. I ain't got time to do a pre-game show, so this is going to be the quick chat. I'll start with you, Neil, because I didn't manage to get your Weghorst proper opinion in then.
Well, I can't, because if I speak, I'm in trouble. I don't like the amount of grief I get over that donkey is unreal.
Yeah.
Anyway.
No, I agree with you, mate. But thoughts on Monday then? Honestly, I don't think we get beat, but I think we're going to be slow. I think we're going to be lethargic.
Yeah, it's going to be slow. I think he's
draw.
going to rotate the team, because I was looking at some of the videos I took last night, and Zaroury's hobbling like fuck anyway. So, to be fair, I don't think he would have played anyway. He's been shite for a few weeks. I think there's going to be a bit of rotation on Monday, so I think it'll be a bit slow. But equally, I don't think Company's going to take it too easy, because we've got to get a bit of revenge for what they did at their place.
Yeah.
So
well, I listened to him on TalkSport last night. He did allude to that a couple of times in Company, but I just can't see how the players are going to be as up for it after all the celebrations on the lives that we saw last night, especially over Femi. He's going to be fucked. He's probably woke up in a bush.
He's a mentality monster, though, his Company.
He is. But I think, like I said, I think he's going to be drilling it into him. But you know that when you're rough and you're just like, I can't be arsed with this. I think that's what they're going to be like this morning.
The job's not done at all.
No. I think
definitely
now
not.
They can go up to another level now, because that's done now. That monkey that's on your back is gone. It's done. We're promoted now. Now there's a freedom. Like I've always said that
champions, let's go and play as champions now.
Yeah, this team. I said it in the pub last night. This team can reach another level now, because they can play with freedom. Like that's a scary thought, because we're fucking pretty good as it is.
Yeah.
Like now to play a team with freedom, and Company's going to be drilling. They're drilling into these lads about getting revenge back, because he won't want that hoodoo on his back. That after all this work we did this season, that Sheffield dicked us twice. Like he's not going to want that, and he's mentioned, like I said, he's mentioned it 3 or 4 times now.
Yeah,
that
it's
they've got to come to us. They've got to come
we need
to
to
us.
stay unbeaten at home, don't we?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'd be gutted if we lost at home at this stage of the season.
He said last night, didn't he? He said, I'm not a monster, but the lads are in training tomorrow. You know what I mean? Like, they were just on piss on the bus all the way home. They'll probably nipped out into Manchester, but I reckon they'll be probably just arriving to Goalkeeper now.
Yeah.
Hopefully not behind the wheel of a vehicle, and they're all getting taxis in.
I think the main thing is, like, you know, we've got through this stage of games that I was personally ever so slightly worried about, and we've got through it with 4 points. Even if we lose this game, we're still a bit of a way ahead of them. And then we come into games like QPR, Cardiff, Rotherham.
Honestly, QPR could be 10-0.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
what I mean. It's like we've got through this stage, and now it's back to like smash teams, go into games where there's not even an element of doubt, and you just think like, just go in, wrap that title up by, you know, with 3 games to go, and just HMS Pistol League has arrived back in port, and we're all ready for Premier League.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see how we get on. But I'll be gutted, like I said, if we lose the game at this stage of the season. We're over an hour, actually. And I know we've got big numbers, but in terms of the actual show, people don't really watch it if it goes over an hour. So we'll start wrapping up. But we're not going to wrap it up just yet because there's still a few things that we need to talk about. Man of the match. Who's your man of the match? Get your comments in. I'll put them in on screen as well if you get my comments in. I'll start this time because I know someone said to me last week, "Oh, you only go around so then you can forge an opinion of what everyone else has said." No, it's just common fucking courtesy. But I'll start. I know.
You read you like a book.
Nathan Teller.
I like it.
Nathan Teller was the man of the match last night. The guy was unplayable. As fucking Neil said, all they did was try and kick him. They could not handle Nathan Teller. My only criticism with Nathan Teller is he didn't put that one in the net that he went through. The amount of times I sit here and say, I will put my mortgage on it, and then he missed.
Last night, I was about
I'd
to
have lost
say,
my
how
house.
does it feel to be bankrupt?
I'd have lost my house. But he was getting pulled. I think he should have gone down, personally. But he's obviously backed himself. It's just hindsight, isn't it?
If he went down, it would have been a pen. Yeah, it would have been.
Yeah, and a red card. But nobody else has said. Tell them in the actual comments. But boys, we'll get your opinion first before I bring the comments in. Neil, what's yours?
Beckham Bayer.
Yeah, he was class. He was
class.
really, really good.
He was really good. He was solid. Even when mistakes were happening, he was consistent. He was calm. I've gone for Bayer. Yeah.
Yeah, Samuel.
Michael Obafemi. No,
Just because his performance on the bus.
Oh, it was honestly 10 out of 10, unbelievable. No, for me, Connor Roberts. I think he's had a lot of stick at start of the season, and I like his ability to get forward, and the fact that he's in centre at box, sending Burnley into Premier League, I just think's brilliant, and I think he deserves all the applause.
What's he doing there, like you said earlier, and then doing that to the fans?
He's our new shithouse. That's what I was going to say. He's our new shithouse. If that's
he is.
Yeah.
I just love this kind of, full circle that he's gone. He kind of stayed and everybody was like, brilliant, he's staying, and then he's kind of gone like, oh, is he good enough? And now we're at a point where there's no stick at all. He's a funny guy to have around the team. He's a great player, brilliant fullback, and deserves the plaudits. So yeah, for me, Connor Roberts.
Yeah.
Nathan.
I'm gonna be like, it's a bit silly, and I'm gonna give it Dekeel. I think he stepped in. Not playing a lot of games. I'm being the fucking tall football hipster dickhead. Like, that's what I'm being. But like, I just think
Mundial, you have to be hipster.
Exactly.
That's the brand, mate.
Exactly. Got to keep brand up. But I just think he was brilliant again. Like, for such a player that's so young and unknown and undeveloped, and he stepped into a massive game. Like, that's a huge game for someone like him, and he just looked comfortable next to Bayer. Like, Bayer didn't look like he were holding him up or like carrying him through a game, and I'm just gonna give it Dekeel and just let him have a moment, because every other lad's been fucking brilliant. So let's share the love out. Dekeel can have a shout.
I like the fact we've all gone for different players as well. But just to touch on Dekeel, I thought he got some stick, as you'd expect, because people just love to fucking moan. Yeah. But I thought he played well. He just wasn't that great on the ball. But other than that, defensively, I thought he did well.
Yeah, he did fine.
Especially in the second half.
Yeah, he doesn't look as comfortable on the ball as the others do, but he's solid. He's fine.
But the standards are so high from what Bayer's set. What Bayer's set and THB and he act that, like, he's not gonna look as good, but he still does a job, and I think that's commendable. That he's played like 6 games, and it's coming to the biggest game of our season, and he's still done really well. And to keep composure at a young age, I think fair play. Like, he done really well there. So
second half, I thought it was class. I thought it was really, really good.
So good second half.
There's a football hipster in all here. There's a football hipster in all.
He was giving all away. But then again, so was everybody else in first half.
Yeah.
All away.
Yes. I was going to say second half we were all better as a team. We were better in the second half.
Yeah. As Harry says in the comments, we are spot. I can't too many comments coming in. I can't fucking select it. We are spoilt at the moment with our choice at our centre back. It's definitely the strongest position in the pitch that we have. Does centre back?
We're a spoilt football club according to everybody else. Most points, more money spent. Everybody else. I don't give a shit. We've gone up, and you're all.
It makes me laugh. I saw a Sheffield United fan last night whinging as soon as he went, "Oh, well done. You spent all that money." Have you seen? I've seen the price of their squad and the players that they have. I was like, "Oh, well, we did buy them in the Championship. It don't matter. You bought them 2 years ago. Now you're in the Championship and you're shit compared to us."
Exactly. You're still paying for Rion Brewster. He's shite.
Exactly. We've had a comment from a Preston fan that I want to highlight. I just want to highlight this from a Preston fan. I'm telling you, I'm so happy that you are promoted because I'm a PNE fan and I hate you lot. You're so good, I think that's fair to say. Thanks, I think.
Cheers.
I think that's thanks. Yeah. Thanks. Yeah, obviously, I asked for everyone to get the comments in for the man of the match. I haven't put any comments on screen yet, but I'll do that now. Resurge says, aye, Ashley. John Mead says Roberts. Jack G says Cullen by a mile. Cullen were fantastic last night. Cullen's one of them players. He's just Cork, but like the modern version of Cork, where he does all the hard work, just doesn't get the accolades that he deserves, really, because he's just doing the dirty work that people just don't really notice. But without him, we're a completely different side.
I think he likes that as well. You get that feel from him. He likes that.
He doesn't want to be the centre of
He don't want to be the main man. He just comes and does his job, and he goes home and he gives an 8.5 every game. Like if you've got 3 of them in your team, you're laughing. If you've got 3 8.5s every game, you're laughing. And I think we're probably two more away, I think, to completing this team. So
yeah. James Barrett says Ashley, everyone's favourite statistician. Solent Claret says Barnes man of the match. Jason says, it's not a man of the match comment, but he does say Burnley's B team is on in 20 minutes. Dice to win again at the Theatre of Dreams. I hope they get beat, if I'm being honest with you. True Red, that's not a man of the match comment again. Sean Darmander, Cullen, Jamie Teller. Oh, someone agreed with me. Mark Howarth says Cullen man of the match. Graham says Roberts. Solent Claret's like this comment. Obafemi, he came on in the 85th minute, touched it twice and got booked. And then
celebrated like he won.
And then
celebrated like he won the Ballon d'Or.
He was celebrating by shagging the bus seat. His hip movements, by the way, put all of us, I presume, to shame.
I've banned my missus from watching that video, by the way. She ain't seeing that. I can't keep up with them moves.
I'm getting Obafemi on the back of every shirt next season. I absolutely fucking love the bloke.
I love that stat that he came on for 5 minutes, took it twice, and still got booked. Amazing.
But he walks off like that. He walks off. Yeah. Like, come on, lads, come on. Hey, Michael.
Obviously, he was buzzing because he became an official Burnley player last night. That's probably why he was.
He's probably got his signing on bonus as well, and he's just got his signing on fee, so that's why he's shagging coach.
He's bought Moretti's all round, hasn't he?
Yeah. Oh, bloody hell, fantastic. What a day yesterday was. So absolutely buzzing with it. I've got loads of content. It's all on the channel if you want to watch it. I've still got some more that's gone up. This has just been a good chat as well. Obviously, my favourite one of the season. Reese Nunn says, Joe's brought up all of his hip movement. Honestly, I watched it last night, right? And I remember thinking, like, bloody hell, that's good movement now. And then someone commented about his pelvic movements. And someone else noticed it, right? I'll run with it then. But yeah, it had an effect.
Yeah, but we're only thinking about the runs he can make. That's all it is.
That's why you want on camera for the first 5 minutes. You're background like that.
Practice.
That's what I'm doing. I'm jealous, mate. I'm jealous. Jealous of his movements. Absolutely jealous. Preston fan still here. He says, I watched the game on TV, even though I'm a Preston fan. Your man of the match was your striker, Barnes. I think that's him. If you don't know who Barnes is by now,
you think that's him. You want to sign him in the summer, pretending like you don't know who he is. You never heard of him. You've got him on back in next season's shirt.
Probably. Reese admits that he can't get the movements out of his head anyway. And Kurt says, I've done nothing all day so far except absorb every and any Burnley related content I can find. Well, that's a perfect chance for me to sign off because obviously if you have joined the show late, you're a Preston fan and you want to watch it all, for example, it does of course stay on the YouTube channel as soon as we end this live. I will put it out as a podcast as soon as physically possible. I am working later today, but not till 5 o'clock, so I should be able to get it up in the next couple of hours. So yeah, thank you everybody for watching. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for coming on, Neil, Sam and Nathan. been an absolute pleasure. As I said, if you want to absorb some more content, I will be putting more up as well throughout the course of the day. I've got a nice video of the champagne moment, and I've got lots of content as well it's already on the channels as well. It's been an absolute pleasure. Neil, thanks for coming on.
No worries, mate. Always.
Nathan, thanks for coming on.
Cheers for having us on. Up the Clarets.
Up the Clarets indeed. And Sam, goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Thanks, everybody. It's been a pleasure. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And we will see you next time.